Hi folks, tonight I'm going to show you just a little quick snippet on a class called HTMLHelper. If you're creating extensions, it can be very handy because it has a couple of really cool little quirks that are built in. This class is not very well documented as far as how to use it, so hopefully this will help. Yeah, I learned something new just last night on this, and so I wanted to share that real quick. So HTMLHelper class has a lot of things that it can do. Okay, it'll work with images, calendars, links. Well, I don't know why you'd want one for a link, but that's there. The two that I find the most useful and that I use the most are script and style sheet. Now, I work with a template designer, and I do a lot of work to help her out with her web coding itself. And so I'm constantly working with templates and working with extensions and getting them to do what she wants them to do. And so I've gotten real familiar with how the templates work on the inside. And because of that, I started working on my own template. So we're going to look at mine here. And instead of having the traditional link, which you can certainly do, if you'll put the HTMLHelper class in, and then you tell it what function within that class you want. Do you want a style sheet, a script, an image, a link, whatever it is that you want. Then you give it the path. Now, by default, it will only look in the immediate folder inside the template, or it'll look inside the media folder for your module or whatever it is that you're doing. However, which is here, right here. However, you can make it look anywhere you want if you do it the right way. Okay, so if it's given an absolute URI, Uniform Resource Indicator, it will use that URI. Anything that is prefaced with URI, base, like JPath root, JPath base, it will use that. One of the very cool things about it is you can pass it a bunch of options. I only use 4 different things. Or is it 3? We'll see in a minute. I only use a couple. One of them is relative, true or false. Relative says the path that I'm showing you is relative to whether it's a style sheet, a JavaScript, or whatever. So if you say relative and it's a CSS file, it's going to go, and you tell it style sheet, it's going to go look in the CSS folder. That's going to be its starting point, the CSS folder. If you tell it it's a style of script, it's going to start looking in the JS folder. Okay? So let's take a look at what I've done here. Here I've got a style sheet. Now, remember we said that the media folder was, by default, one of the places it goes and looks. So that's fine. Here I've got CSS, and what's doing the work for me is this little variable right here. Now if we come over here, this variable says versioning is auto, relative equals true. Now remember we talked about that. So if we go back again, it says in my CSS file, this template is going to be in the root of that CSS file folder. Okay? The next thing it says is detect debug equals true. This is the part that I like the most and where I think it trumps link, using the link structure any day of the week. If detect debug is true and you have 2 files there like I do, here's template.css and template min.css. I only tell it to load template min.css right here. But if I turn debug on, it automatically instead looks at the template.css file instead of the template.min. It's smart that way. So I have it set up so that relative equals true. So if I put a file like this custom CSS here, it's going to come look right here in the root custom CSS folder, or root template folder. Here I've got libraries, normalized CSS. And if you remember, I told you, it only looks in the root folder of the template or in the media folder for that template. Well, I don't use the media folder, so it's not going to find anything. So I tell it it's relative. Then I tell it it's in the libraries folder, in the menu folder within that, and then there's my file. So long and short, this class has a lot of possibilities, and the really, really cool part about it is that detect debug. I hope this helps you. A little bit of a ramble. Have a good night.